Hi, from Manchester. Can you see that? I have no idea if it's coming out. This is the Manchester weekend evening news for Ghost. That's Richard and Casey. They're the stars of the show, and we're making the newspaper. We open next Monday night, a week from tomorrow. And the amount of creative energy and activity that has been expressed here in the last month and over the last 5 years, really, in making this thing happen has been probably one of the greatest creative experiences I've ever gone through. And at this point, there's not a lot for me to do. Doing is already over. I've done mostly my part. Not that I don't still have a role. A week ago I rewrote the entire opening scene, and I think really helped the production a great deal. It needed a little bit more information provided about who the lead characters were and what their roles were to each other, and once that got established, I think it changed everything. Tomorrow we're actually putting it on stage for the first time. We're going to light it, going to work out the surround backgrounds for it, and Monday night, a week from now, people will be watching it. This is a really kind of extraordinary experience, watching something born in this way. Most of us spend a very long time watching a creative effort arrive at its fulfillment. Most of us spend years watching our own lives develop. We spend years watching the lives of our children and grandchildren develop. Some of us who write spend a year or 2 or 4 trying to write a book, a novel, a screenplay. And I guess those who write poetry and songs get to see something emerge much more quickly. But the joy isn't any different. The joy is of watching this thing come from nothing to something. And I read a line the other day that I thought was really powerful, and I'll give you a bad version of it. But basically it said, if you want to know what God feels like every day, look at a blank page. That's what creation is. There is this blank page to be filled, and what do you fill it with? What do you want to bring to the blank page that is you, that is your life? Well, luckily we're born with certain instincts, certain desires to express ourselves, to make ourselves known to the world. This is very powerful, because that force is something that gives rise to creativity, that gives rise to formation, to materialization, to manifestation. That is something that is built within us. And some of us manifest lives and creative expression with great artistry, and some without so much artistry. Some people's lives are a mess. Some people's lives are really beautiful. Some people create beautiful things from messy lives. I've talked about this fairly often in these talks because I'm definitely a writer. I'm someone who is very versed in what it means to be a creator, or to, if you will, participate in the act of creation. The first thing one notices when one is really deeply immersed in creation is that they're not doing it. That creation is happening. That somehow there is something that has overtaken the system and it is working. When you are doing it, you know. You know it immediately. When you are creating what's in front of you, it struggles. You struggle. It's hard. You try to make something happen. You try to look for, feel, reach for that thing where it is happening, just happening. And you reach for that thing which is just happening because that's the thing you're looking for, not the thing that is made, not the thing that you create. You're looking for the thing or the presence that is making that thing what it is. That connectivity to the creative process is connecting to presence. Presence in its endless, infinite unfolding is what you are. But with us as human beings, it happens so slowly, day to day, a little bit here, a little bit there, this incremental growth, that for many people you lose the way and you lose your artistry. But when you have a really committed creative life or spiritual life, you wake up ready, you wake up engaged, you wake up excited to be partaking of and participating in this enormous unfolding that is the creative life, that is the life really of all of us, but mostly unperceived. Most people imagine their lives as the doldrum of having to get through to the next paycheck. Day to day to day to day. And they dream of the vacation at the end of the year, or whatever it is they're dreaming of. You know, everybody has the thing that sustains this effort, and then waiting for that effort to happen and finalize itself is often a very tedious and boring experience. And of course, you know, you miss the ride. You miss the ride looking for the result, for the reward. The reward is the ride. That's the reward. It's there every single second of your life. And to know that is to live a life that is fulfilling, that live a life that is creatively vibrant. Because what you realize is that every moment is an opportunity to fill it with something. Every moment is a blank sheet, and you can do what? Watch TV, read the paper, go to bed, take a nap, or make something, do something. Allow something to arise within you. But it takes a kind of alertness, it takes a kind of awakening to be able to know that there is this force in you that wants to express itself. And once you've spent too many years holding that force back or not giving it full room to grow, you become stunted, you become unhappy, you become unfulfilled. You can't find any way to enjoy the life you're living, because real enjoyment is the creative expression. It is the urge to make something happen in the world. And it doesn't have to be a thing. It really doesn't have to be any product. It's fulfilling what you are. There was a wonderful line in this book I read many years ago about Aborigines in Australia. And this one woman, everyone had a job, and this one woman's job was to listen. Listen. And she had an enormous role to play in the tribal community, because she is the one who actively heard who you were, what you had to say, what you were speaking. She was the one who creatively engaged your being. Now, it doesn't sound like she's doing much listening. Listening seems passive, but it's not passive. Listening is a creative act. So that no matter what you're doing in your life, no matter how passive or how indifferent it may seem, it has within it the capacity to be wildly creative, wildly engaged by what is really, truly happening in front of you, so that your life doesn't have to become static. It doesn't have to become waiting for something to happen, because it's happening. It happens in the absolute stillness of not doing. It happens and it flowers up inside you. And if you have patience, which is something Rudy talked about a lot, if you have patience, you watch this thing making itself known. This play that I'm working on has been in the works for 5 years. Of course, it was a movie 20-some years ago, but now it's really fashioning itself into a new form. And I watch what it takes every day, the amount of effort. Rudy once said to me years ago, when he went to a play, he said he sat there watching the play, and all he could think about was how much work had been expended to make that happen. Well, now I'm living that. I'm watching everybody working their asses off at the top of their skill level to make this thing come about. And there is a thrill in doing that that is inexpressible. I am watching it happen. I sit in that auditorium and I observe, or more specifically, I become present. I am just a presence in that auditorium. I have a seat, I have a place for my computer. I just sit there and I don't do hardly a thing. I just am what is happening. And the strangest things happen. People come up to me, they walk into the theater and they come up and they hug me. I'm not doing anything. These beautiful chorus girls come up to me, or dancers, singers, the guys, and everybody comes up to me, they hug me, how are you? All day long. And I sit there, they go out and to get food, they say, can I bring you something? I'm just sitting there. And someone came up to me the other day and they said, you know, I don't know if I wanted to do this show. I was really struggling. I broke up with a relationship. Things were really terrible. But since I've been here, it's been one of the greatest times of my life. It's been so full of joy. I can't wait to be here every day. I feel like I've been healed, like everything has transformed, that my life has changed. This happened just yesterday. And this is not the first person to talk to me that way. And I go, why is this happening? And I realize part of it is the nature of the show itself, which is very full of love and positivity, if you will, of it has an emotional ride that is exceedingly meaningful to people, but also there is a presence that comes off the stage, and there is a presence now that fills the auditorium, and in many ways that a lot of that presence is sourced into this body, if you will. It's perceived as that. This presence just radiates, and people are immersed in that radiance. They know it. They don't understand it. They don't know why. They don't know why they feel so good, why they're so happy, why they're so grateful to be working on this show, but they are. And they express it to a person all around the entire auditorium and everyone on the stage and behind the stage. It's extraordinary. And I get it. I truly get it. And a lot of it has to do not with me, not with Bruce, but with this presence that is emanating. One of the great joys of being on this show is watching how that presence emanates from everybody. Just absolutely from everybody. And I think I may have talked about this before. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself. But I'm especially touched by the dancers. I don't know what it is, the joyful, youthful nature of the dancers and their physicality, their enormous physicality, their complete immersion in their bodies, and they're using their bodies as these tools of expression and really of joy. What I love, and I've captured some of it on tape, is what they're doing when they're not doing anything. They don't stand still like I do. They don't just sit there kind of waiting. They're in motion. They're always in motion. And they're in a kind of joyful motion. They spin around. They do these quick moves that I don't even understand how they do them. You know, they do these dance moves, and they laugh a lot. They laugh like 5-year-olds, and they are among the most wonderful people I have ever met, and none of them know that they're wonderful. Not in the way that I know they're wonderful. None of them know they're present in the way I know they're present. It's extraordinary. And then the lead actors, you know, I mean, these are people of such unbelievable talent. I mean, they have voices that sing from the depth of their soul, and they touch you. They, on their off time, they're playing guitar with each other, they're spinning around dancing as well, but there's even a deeper quality. There's a star quality. And I don't know what to say about star quality other than the fact that it is more completely engaged. It is more expressive even than everybody else, and everybody else is remarkable, but this is of another magnitude, and you know it when you see it. And it has nothing to do with them exactly. It's just they are the channel for this extraordinary expression, and they get up there and they are on that stage and they come alive. They come alive like a light bulb that gets turned on. They feed off of that place and time, and they express whatever you want to call it, joy, life, character, presence, being. They express it. And you sit there in the auditorium, and you, who are hopefully made defenseless against other people's presence, because you're there for a story, you relax, you sit back in your chair, you just feel you're there to be entertained, but what you're really doing is you're letting go of the mind, judgment, egoism that keeps you going day by day. Theater lets you release that and have this extraordinary sense of being them, of being the person on the stage, of being the character in the play. It's one of these great, great gifts that's given to all of us. We get to experience another person's life, and when we sit back and we really surrender to their story and to their performance, they fill us with this presence, with this energy. And we walk out of a theater feeling uplifted, transformed, new, refreshed, alive, happy, or not. I'm sure you've all been to plays or movies where you walk out going, could have done something better with those 2 hours. But if you work really hard, and I'm watching how we're working, and you really are connected to a play that wants to be, and I describe this show as a show that wants to be. It has a life force. It really knows what it's about. It gets rid of anybody who gets in the way. It is about what it wants to be, and it wants to be in the world. It has this need to be present. And so everyone there is being responsible to being part of that and serving that need, and it's extraordinary to watch. Now, I'm a little worried about my enthusiasm. It's so powerful for me. I can't seem to contain it. I am effusive on a moment-to-moment basis. And I may be wrong. I keep saying, look, I may just be totally subjective here, having no objectivity, no sense of the reality of what's going on in front of me. And that is possible, of course, it's possible. But I think that's not what's happening. I think something extraordinary is coming alive, and I am sitting in a dark room watching it happen every day. And I'm being present. I am observing the birth of something wonderful, this birth of a living presence that will begin to sing and dance its way into the hearts, I hope, of millions of people. That doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen to many people who are 68 years old, especially not as a first-time experience, but it's happening to me. Last weekend after I talked, I went to the Olivier's in London, which were the equivalent of not the Oscars, the Tonys really in New York, and Stephen Sondheim was there and he was being honored, and I had a moment with him. And I tried to touch the hem, to absorb some of that energy. But of course it's not his energy, it's the energy that flowed through him. It's like trying to touch a teacher and thinking, okay, if I touch that teacher, I'll get that energy. Well, not exactly true, but being in the presence of a teacher is in the presence of that energy, and I very consciously went, and I don't know if my lyrics are going to be any better if I ever write lyrics again, but I had a feeling that there's a reason that life puts you in touch with forces of energy. And there was a force of energy that this man emanates. He's written some remarkable plays, some extraordinary lyrics for shows, music. And so I just took it in. I absorbed it. And in life, that's what we do. We take in the creative juices of the people around us, we let it affect the system, and we let it help us become more fully who we are. We don't have to do much, we just have to begin to build our lives in a way that take advantage of all the positive, powerful forces that are merging into it. I am surrounded now by unbelievable talent. Not every one of us gets that. I've lived much of my life surrounded by people who are not necessarily terribly talented. But what happens when you get to the end of your life? I was having a conversation today with Brian De Palma, who's an old friend who I've known since college, and we touch base like every few years, and we just keep looking at our lives over this long spectrum. And what we both understood was, all the people in your life are your teachers, and the ones who you considered to be your adversaries or enemies along the way were as important, if not more important, than almost anybody else, because they were shaping your being. They shape you. You have people around you. You draw from every one of them and you build a life. You create a life in the blank page of existence. This is what we're all doing. Some of us are scribbling badly. Some of us are figuring out how to create Picasso-like images, and some of us, Mondrian, and some of us Monet or Matisse. I mean, we're all working to find what is our contribution to the blank page. And most of us in elementary school realize, given a box of crayons, we're not very good. We don't know how to draw on that blank page, and yet we're all better than we think we are. The thing I really understood on one of my trips years ago, when we were sitting around doing nothing, which is something you don't do very much except when you're on a trip, and I had paper and some paints or crayons, and I started drawing, and I thought, God, this drawing, I can never get to what I want it to be. I don't have the skills or the ability to make it what I want to be, but I just kept drawing. And in my own imperfect way, I did a drawing that only Bruce could do. Nobody else would have done that drawing. And it had its own wonderfulness. It wasn't great, but it was a manifestation of a certain creative moment that was real in that second, and it was who I was on a piece of paper. And if you say, is this Picasso? No, it's not Picasso. Excuse me. It's you. It's you. Draw your life, make your life, build your life, create your life, however you can in front of you. Some days you may be fortunate enough to have this moment that I'm experiencing. It's a rare event having a Broadway musical happening in your life, but I didn't always have that, and most of the time I just sit in a chair. I sit in a chair and I just type, and things come out. And sometimes those things work, and sometimes they don't work. I just finished a script, handed it in about a month ago, And I got a paycheck the other day without anybody saying they liked it or didn't like it. It was just done. It was over. And I realized my career is over. It's over with this considerable whimper. No praise, no blame, nothing. A paycheck that goes into the bank, done. There is no part of me that's attached to the 25 years I had as a writer. There's no part of me that cares about the fact that I'm done with that part of my life. It just ended. I put stuff out there on the paper, and now I woke up this morning with a blank sheet. Actually, we wake up every morning with a blank sheet, all of us, every day. And some days you actually find the blank sheet coming in the middle of the day. There you are, nothing to do, nothing going on. How do you fill it? What do you bring to the moment? This is the challenge of every life. Some people just sit back there and go, woe's me, it's terrible, I don't know how to draw, I can't do this, I can't paint, I don't sing, I don't do anything, I'm worthless, I'm bored with television. Well, you fill it with that. I don't particularly want to watch that, but that's what a lot of people fill their lives with. Or you can just find something unexpected. The great thing is, get up, go out of your house, get in the car and go somewhere. Go somewhere you've never been, do something you've never done. Find a new palette. Find a new realm of color and excitement. Just do it. Go get a job somewhere, working volunteer for anything, just to be with new people. Create your life. Create your day. Create your moment. Do something other and different. And you will be amazed. It may not be the greatest thing ever, but it'll be great to you. It'll color your life, it'll fulfill your life, it'll give you a sense of joy and pleasure. And that's what this is about. Do you think God is up there trying to create Picasso every time? God is grateful every time a Picasso emerges, or a Mondrian, or any of these great artists, and God is grateful when you emerge. And interested in what you do, and giving you full reign to fill that page. That's really completely your choice. Yes, there are obstacles in the way. Yes, some people have more talents than others. Some people have more capacity and ability. But everyone has the ability to have a full and dynamic life, and to paint that painting in a brilliant way. The painting of you can be brilliant, or it can just be, something you toss in the wastebasket. That's kind of your choice, and I really hope that each of you take advantage of this moment, maybe even to remember what's being said here, and find a way in the next blank moment of your life to fill it with creative joy. Find something. If you haven't picked up a box of crayons since you were 5 years old, pick up a box of crayons. Get some watercolors. Write a poem. Write a song. Go outside and walk somewhere quietly and sing a song to yourself as you make it up as you go along. Fill the universe with something new. You can do it. It's a joy. It's a joy. Let that be the story of your life, that you have found creativity in the silence and the stillness of doing nothing. When there's nothing to do, let it arise. And if it doesn't arise, then I'll tell you the other secret. Just sitting and being and witnessing is all a joy by itself. I could sit in this room all day and just be joyful. Totally joyful. Because I exist, because I am. What is more than that? What is greater than that? So, anyway, tomorrow morning we start to stage the new scene I just wrote the other day. Tomorrow we run the whole show, first act, second act. Tuesday we run the entire show all at one time. We do it every night for a week and work every day fixing what doesn't work, and we're going to keep doing this until we end up in London in June. But the process is wonderful, exhilarating, thrilling, and I can't wait to share it with every one of you. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you all. I'm going to be back in LA in a few weeks, and in New York in about 5 or 6 weeks. So I'll see you soon. Lots of love to you all.